excited to welcome Terilee Harrison to the stage. Now, everyone, Terilee is known for her incredible insight and dedication, helping others find success and purpose in remarkable ways. We are so excited to have you with us today, Terilee. So please feel free to share a little bit about yourself and what brings you to the summit before diving into your message that you have for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. What a blessing to be here today and be part of this summit. The opportunity to hear the other speakers has really blessed me today. I'm so happy to be here I think in some ways to continue this conversation about story. And I'm here to remind you today that your story is your superpower. A little bit about me. I'm on a mission, everybody. I'm on a mission to help over 1 million people let go of shame. And I'm the founder of Bree Talks, bold, real, and impactful. I'm a story speaker coach, an entrepreneur, a global speaker, and a multi-time author for 18 plus years. I've served thousands of business owners globally. A fun fact about me is I have my own Supergirl cape and I'm not afraid to wear it. And I reside in Arlington, Texas with my husband, Harry, where we serve in ministry. So what's going to happen today? I'm going to talk about how your story can be your superpower. It doesn't have to be the thing that weighs you down. But right when I finish, I'm going to invite you that if there's anything I can do to support you with your story, that I want you to book a time with me. I am here to help you. I'm so passionate about our stories and how we can share what God's done in our lives. I believe with all my heart, ladies and gentlemen, that we all have a story, cause, or method to share with the world. And what I'm most passionate about with my Bree Talks is that I want to be free to to tell what God has done in my life. And I wanted others to be able to be free to do the same. I'm reminded in Revelation 12:11, where it says they triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Our stories are so powerful. And I also every day think about the fact that I want to let my light shine. And that is out of Matthew 5, specifically in verse 16. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father who is in heaven. So I want to ask you, I've seen several speakers here today talking about getting their message out to the world, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself in getting your message out to the world? Just think about it for a minute. I know there are a lot of people that feel a calling, and there are some that are taking action, but there are some that may not be in this moment. And so I'm here, no matter where you are, to encourage you and support you in that. So today, I believe that your story can be your superpower, but that wasn't always the case in my life. And I have found that it played out so big in my life, and I don't know if you can relate, but what you believe about yourself on the inside is what you're going to manifest on the outside. So even when everything's looking great on the outside, when we feel we're not enough, when we feel we're not worthy, those things will start to ooze out and seep out, and eventually there can be a situation where you implode. So this is a little bit about my story. So I am here, the cute cowgirl on the left. This is like kindergarten, and by the time I was like 4 years old, I'd already had several surgeries. We knew that I had like a double kidney on the right side. I had some things going on, and the doctors had gone in and done a surgery, taken a look, and came out and told my parents out in the waiting room, "Your daughter looks like a museum inside. It appears she was a twin and the egg didn't split." Now, this next picture is a little blurry, but work with me. This is 6th grade. Y'all remember 6th grade? It's kind of an awkward time. And I am up here, like up towards the top row, near the right. That is me. But I want you to see, even if it is blurry, just to get a visual and think about 6th grade. And in fact, we reside in Texas. I'm in Oklahoma today with my husband. It's his 50th high school reunion this weekend. And it was that we were at the middle school, and like I walked in to go to the restroom, and like I opened the door from the cafeteria and like to walk down the middle school hall, and like I could feel it. I was like, ah, middle school. Yeah. So think about those things, right? And so, but in sixth grade, we were learning about sex education. And it was then that I came to know that I had an underdeveloped reproductive tract. So here I was, 12 years old, getting ready to start my period, and there was no place for the blood to flow out. I had to have an operation to be able to start my period. And so let me spell it out in case you're thinking about it. So I was born without a vagina. And in sixth grade, my parents did the right thing. They wanted to protect me, but they felt it was best that we not tell people. Now, that was good. They didn't want all the sixth graders making fun of me. But I'll tell you, what was bad about it was I took on at 12 that I was A, different than all other girls, B, that how I was made was so bad I couldn't tell anyone. This is my best friend Shonda over here. And like, I didn't tell Shonda. Shonda knew I went and had surgery. Like, I just didn't tell anyone. And so but what I did was I stuffed it all inside. And I was raised in a Christian home, and if we didn't have God, I don't know what I would have done, but it all just sat there. I couldn't deal with it, I didn't deal with it, and I went on with my life. So this is like high school, and now I'm the cute girl on the cute sister on the right, and like you can't look at me and see that there's anything going on with me, right? I pursued perfectionism. I wanted to get good grades. I wanted everything to look perfect. I didn't realize I was trying to maybe fight off feelings that I had inside. Eventually, I felt unlovable, ladies and gentlemen. And over the next 10 years, I was in relationships with three men. They were all not good for me. And in that time, I was the cheater. I was cheated on, and I've been the other woman. And when I say I was cheated on, I'm not talking your average cheat. I'm talking he was married to someone when he lured me out of a marriage. And then he was a mean, angry alcoholic, just a whole, lied to me about everything I ever knew about him. I mean, it was a doozy. It was the movie of the week, if you remember movies of the week. Mm. So, in the meantime, in those years, I was able to birth a daughter and a son. Some of the greatest blessings of my life, even in the midst of havoc, even in the midst of havoc. Later, I met and married my husband that I'm with it for the high school reunion. Terry, we're in the middle there, and he came alongside me as to raise Jackie and Cole, and I'm so grateful for him. Terry had been in ministry, and I am just so grateful that he was willing to see me. He says, I never needed rescuing, like you might think I needed rescuing. And he loved me and came alongside me. I'm going to tell you what was the game changer in my life, in this life of shame that I was living in, the bad decisions that I was making. And that was that my amazing mother passed away. And when my mother passed away, she had been such an amazing example for me. Just one of, if you looked up amazing mom, she was there. She's there. One of the most amazing moms probably in the world. But I began questioning my mortality, and I there had been a time in all those years when I literally had told God, I know what you want me to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I don't recommend that to anyone. So it was my mom, losing my mom, that actually was what brought me back to talking to God again, wanting to be in relationship with God again, seeking his forgiveness, having the hope in my salvation, and in being able to have a redemptive life, that my life didn't have to continue to be a mess. So over time, I began leading networking groups, working with thousands of people, speaking, writing, doing all the things, and being able to live a life where instead of feeling you're not good enough, knowing that you can be this worthy person who has gifts to offer. And I'll tell you what, the kicker in my life has been that I thought I was junk for over 30 years. But one day I had sat with a coach, and the coach said to me, what do you want to work on today? And I told him, and he caused me to think. He says, tell me about your childhood. And in my mind, some people can't say this, but I thought, "Oh, he thinks I was abused." And I said, I had a loving childhood. I said, but I was sick a lot. And in that time, I went to the internet. We didn't have the internet in those dark ages. And and so I didn't know what to put, but I typed in absence of vagina. I typed in absence of vagina, and I was shocked when a whole bunch of things popped up. And I realized I had a condition that 1 in 5,000 women had, but no one talks about it. They have all some of the same things that I have. And and I'll tell you, a lot of my shame, a lot of my like isolation, because if you felt alone, I think a lot of us feel alone. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. But what I came to realize was I was a miracle the whole time, and I had no idea. These women who have my condition, they don't find out when they're 12 and they need surgery to begin menstruation. They never have a period. They find out later in their teens when they go to the doctor to find out why they haven't started, and they don't have a uterus either. And I realized here I've been a miracle the whole time. I thank God, and I know what he did for me, and I knew I needed to shout it from the rooftops. Today, I'm blessed to be a different woman with different beliefs, to hang out with my granddaughters. And I'm grateful to God for everything He's done for me. When I went to write my story, I knew I wanted to write my story. My book coach says to me, after I told her, she says, "This is a book about shame." And I said, "It is?" I mean, guys, I had no idea. And so my mission to help over 1 million people let go of shame is a big one, because most people, we all experience it and we don't talk about it. So most people don't know what it is. So shame is when you feel bad about yourself as a person, and guilt is, I say, like shame's brother. Guilt is when you feel you've done a bad thing. There's a difference. There's a difference. And shame comes from awkward feelings about how you're made, which I definitely had. It comes from your own sin and mistakes. I was definitely off doing that. And it's also from the things that people have done to us. When began studying shame, I learned that I had no idea a third of the people walking the planet have been abused in some way. And shame is huge. So I knew I wanted to share my story, and I don't know if any of you can relate, but the first time I shared my story, I created an opportunity at church, like a ladies' tea in the afternoon for the church I was going to at the time. At the time, I was serving business owners and speaking 3 to 5 times a week. I thought I had this all down, but when I began sharing my story, oh my goodness, it seemed like there was I had the biggest cotton mouth ever. Like getting that story up and out and publicly speaking it, I didn't even know it was about shame. It was like a quite an experience. So I don't know if any of you can relate. What I've come to learn over the years, and I found it to be true, is that every time you tell your story, it is healing to you and healing to others. So I ask you today, what's your story? And are you holding back from sharing your story? There are several things that can hold you back. I'm going to share a couple of them with you. One is fear, just plain fear. And it can be fear of being exposed. For years, I worried, what would people think if they knew the real me? What would they think? And it wasn't about how I was made, but how about like the decisions I made, how I'd gone off and done all these things, how I told God I'm going to do things I want, I'm going to do what I want to do, right? Just that fear of what people will think of me. Some of you are hesitant to share your story because you fear revealing a sticky mess. When I wrote my book, I didn't name names. I changed names. Like there are ways to tell your story without telling everything. And I want to wholeheartedly say to you that if you're interested in telling your story and you have a fear of revealing a sticky mess, I'm going to tell you how you can get a hold of me. I would love to have a conversation with you. I would love to, because there are all kinds of ways to say, I told you, if we had a longer time, I could tell you more, but what did I say? I painted a picture. I've been the cheater, I've been cheated on, and I've been the other woman. That says a lot without giving details, as an example. You might just fear your story isn't good enough. I hear stories sometimes, and I'm like, whoa. But people tell me all the time, I don't have like a big story, but every story matters. Every story matters. There's someone that can benefit from your story. And I want to encourage you today, don't wait for it to feel right. Because that feeling's never going to come. I'm going to tell you when it's going to feel right. And when it's going to feel right is after you shared and someone comes up to you, puts their hand on your arm and says, I want you to know how much that helped me, and this is why. And I have to tell you, every time I share my story, and when people read my book, they all have different ways it helped them. It doesn't help them everybody in one way. It helps everyone, and it meets them where they are. So your story doesn't have to weigh you down. I promise. I was going to share. It can be your superpower. I When you own it and embrace it, it can be the thing that sets you free. Your story matters. We live into our story. I want to encourage you to start listening to your story, start listening to the things you say about your story. I want you to know that you can change your story. You might feel like your story has weighed you down, but that does not have to be the case.
Yeah.
And I want you to know, especially in business and in your life and relationships, when you change your story, it will change your results. So as I close out, I want to just encourage you, if you've not yet, to share your story. And part of this may be the idea of doing your work around your story. It might mean it's time to talk to a coach, a counselor, to talk to your minister. And if you've not yet shared your story, I want to invite you to share it with one trusted friend to start. You have no idea how many times I speak and people come up to me and say, I've never told anybody this, and they share. And so it's sharing with one person is a great way to go. But you might be on the opposite end and be ready to feel to call to speak and write and share your whole story with the world. So the biggest lesson I've learned in all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is that one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to allow others to love you for who you really are.
Mm.
One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to allow others to love you for who you really are. We just never give them a chance. I
So
am grateful for our time today. If I want you to remember one thing, it's that to remember that you are good enough, you matter, and you are loved.
oh my gosh, Miss Terry Lee, thank you so much for this time. I know you're out of the state where you and your husband live, but thank you so much for spending this time with us and sharing with us, being transparent with us, and letting us know that we too can share our stories. I truly appreciate you taking this time. Everyone in the chat, let Miss Terry Lee know how her story, I know it's touched me, so thank you so much for sharing your story, with us. And also, how can we contact you? If you could
Yep.
put that in the chat for us, and if you have a gift for, any one of our guests that are here, that would be great if you could put that in the chat as well. But everyone, this has truly been, I don't know about everyone else, but for me, um, I feel like in the little time that we've spent together, listen to all of these speakers, I've reached another level of transformation. We're gonna always transform. I'm sorry, transform until we get to glory. I'm telling you, every one of you have literally um, touched me in some way, and I am taking my notes. I pray that all of you are taking notes as well, and it's been a lot of information, insights that we have been given thus far. So I just pray that each and every one of you could just take a deep breath, take it all in, and just allow, Holy Spirit to continue to unfold what he needs to with you and speak to you as he needs to. So let's keep it rolling, everyone. Our next speaker is an entrepreneur force with over 30 years of experience. Please welcome Mr. Jerry Rosenthal, known by his clients as Coach Jerry. Yes, Coach Jerry is a visionary in network marketing and business with a wealth of insight that has empowered countless of entrepreneurs to reach new heights for themselves. Coach Jerry, we're so thrilled to have you here with us on today. Please feel free to share with us a little bit about your journey, and everyone just light up the chat. Let him know we're excited to hear from him. You have the stage, sir. So we're going to keep it moving, everyone. We're going to keep it moving. Again, just so thankful and grateful to each and every one who is here with us on today, whether you're by audio, listening on YouTube, here with us in the Zoom room, or by way of television. And thank you so much for spending this time with us. And to every expert speaker on today, I'm telling you, I know I may sound like a broken record, but seriously, thank you so much for your generosity on this morning. What you're giving to us today is truly golden, is truly, you know, that emoji, mind blowing on today. And we're just going to tell you how grateful we are. Let's continue to put those in the chat to let our guest speakers know that we appreciate them. We appreciate them on this Saturday morning. And we just gonna keep it moving, y'all. We're gonna keep it moving. Again, if you need to move a little bit, move your legs. Maybe you need to get some more, a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, whatever you're drinking this morning. Well, I know we all drinking water. Yes, you may have your tea, you may have your coffee, but I know we're all drinking water as well, right? Yes, we are. We're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep it moving.